Bienvenue and welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Challenger. I'm Nathanius, as always, joined by Dr. In Control once again as we make our way into the semifinals, where we find out, can anyone actually beat Serral?
No. You said bienvenue. You know, that's the French greeting, but this is a Finnish and German player. Do you know how to say good morning in German?
Wouldn't that be, is it, I'm thinking, okay, my brain goes to Dutch, because I did actually learn how to say all that stuff in Dutch. But it would just be Guten Morgen, right?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, you can say Guten Tag, but Guten Morgen's even more specific. You blow me away.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people make jokes about Americans not understanding world culture, but if we can say hello and good day in a number of different languages, I think that still makes us the world police.
I think we are gross exceptions, but I will agree with you because it makes me feel good about myself.
I agree.
Let's talk about our match that we have coming up. It's going to be a Terran versus Zerg, either for the ages or for the tiers, for all of the tiers in the bracket. Because I thought Stefano played well, and he got buried alive. It's HeRoMaRinE versus Serral. Serral is the best, like no one ever was.
Yep.
To dominate Europe was his real test, but to beat Korea was his cause. So we'll find out if he can travel far and wide to Austin and beyond and take home the championship.
Well, the last time we saw this kind of domination in Europe, it was from a German player. Do you know who?
Who? Enlighten me.
Showtime.
Yeah.
What do you think I was...
He's really good at StarCraft.
Showtime, man. He was really good for a while there.
I don't know what you're going for. It was the awkward pause that got me.
I wasn't going to get historical or anything like that. It was,
no.
Showtime's not that old.
No.
But this will be interesting because Serral just has distanced himself. It's weird to talk about this. We don't usually talk about ladder in tournaments, but and I want to give Rotterdam credit for this. He kind of has spearheaded this with the showing of MMR and with how competitive ladder has gotten. It kind of is an indicator of who's where. And you were talking about this earlier at the beginning of the day to talk about Serral, but literally 7,443 MMR on the ladder, the highest we've ever seen. The next closest player is 300+ points behind that. So that is absurd. And the next player, by the way, is not HeRoMaRinE. So that is just ladder. It's here now. And I was reading the Team Liquid thread. People were talking about this. There's some cheeky European bros that do think that HeRoMaRinE has a pretty good chance to upset Serral here.
I think that Terran versus Zerg upsets are probably the most possible right now, just because there's so many different builds that you can throw at someone. And as much as StarCraft is a game of skill and strategy and planning, there's a whole lot that you have to plan for when you're playing against a Terran. And well, I kind of joked about how HeRoMaRinE had maybe shown a lot of what he had to use in that first series that he played today. Serral, like, what does he really take away from that? He's like, oh yeah, he can play bio and he can play mech. He could cheese or he could macro. I still need to scout. I still don't know what he's going to do because he didn't do any build more than once in the whole entire series, which it does make things really interesting.
It could, but we have a fantastic fact checker in the back room, Mr. Marco Blatz, or as it used to go by, DJ Perplexer, one of the guys that kind of helps put WCS on. He's letting us know that HeRoMaRinE is 1-8 in matches against Serral, and that is matches. So I don't know about map score, but it doesn't matter. It means that of nearly 10 games, in one of them...
I don't know, Kev. It's not looking all that good.
Not looking good.
No. So, yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have to sugarcoat. Serral's the best European player.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I don't care who you like. I like you, Thermal. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he can beat. I don't think anybody here can beat Serral.
That's the expectation.
Yeah,
Serral just runs the gambit, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to like take down the hype or whatever, but Serral's like really, really good at StarCraft. So this just makes everything really difficult. Like on the other side, it's gonna be Drogo, you Thermal. I think Serral's got this in the bag. I'm more excited to see like if HeRoMaRinE takes map, then I'll be like, oh. If HeRoMaRinE gets up 2-0, I'll be like, you know, it'll be, yeah, exactly, like that WWE, just, ooh. And then if he gets like up 100 supply in that game where he could win 3-0, then I'll believe that he has a chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Odds are there. Both players are signifying they're ready to go, so we will get into this in just a moment. The first map's going to be Neon Violet Square, a little bit of a large map.
Yeah.
We talked about this in ZvP, but no, it was ZvT we talked about this as well.
Yeah, we had this map earlier. This was where we saw the Swarm hosts come out. This map was dropped on the mech side of things.
It was HeRoMaRinE, in fact, I think.
Yeah, it was HeRoMaRiNE's match earlier today. So he's kind of seen that. Serral might think to himself, I guess if HeRoMaRinE like wants to make big pushes with no reinforcements on this big map, then I could possibly throw something like that at him. We'll have to see which way he ends up wanting to go. But we're loading in, and we are loaded in to Neon Violet Square to kick off our first semifinal here. This is the World Championship Series. In the northwest position, we have the blue Zerg. He is Serral. Presently accepted as the best StarCraft player outside of Korea. And his opponent in the bottom right. Or did you want this one? I heard
no,
you
Nate,
like,
you
take
got
a
it.
breath.
No,
I heard you take a breath, Jeff.
I'm excited. You do it.
All right. And his opponent, I'm really not excited. His opponent in the bottom right, the red Terran player, representing Germany, he is HeRoMaRinE.
And he has won 68,000, so not quite.
You could round it up.
Not quite 69.
Just round it up, Jeff. It's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, just round it up.
Well, I guess we haven't factored in what he's won here.
That's true.
I did not know Protosser was the younger brother of Serral.
Really?
Did you know that?
That strikes me as odd because I feel like Protosser is a memer, isn't he?
Well, I mean,
when Serral is just
all
like
young people are.
Yeah, but Serral is like he's just a very reserved personality. You know, you don't see Serral running around joking and stuff like that. Whereas to me, Protosser's like he's the guy that would have like his profile picture be him with like sunglasses shooped on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, do you know what Finland's famous for? Do you know a couple of things it's famous for?
The most famous thing about Finland that I know about is that there is a ferry between it goes from Stockholm to a city in Finland.
Okay.
That is it's a party ferry, and the young crazy kids, they all graduate, and you just take this ferry there and you take it back. And I can't really talk about anything else related to it, but I've heard that it's very fun.
I'll tell you what, Nate. When you're at a suave party in the future and someone's like, "You're a world-class guy. Tell me something about Finland." Probably don't tell that story.
The party yacht? No.
You're like, I know of a yacht that goes between.
Yeah, there's a party yacht.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I know.
I think you unknowingly just slandered like every Finnish person that could ever listen to this.
I mean, I've never.
Hey, tell me something famous about a country. Like, I know of a ferry that goes to a better
country. There's at least one guy in chat that's like, "Yo, man, I've been on that. It's great."
Death metal. Talk about death metal in the future. This is a country that loves death metal. Chimera comes from Finland, a great death metal band.
Like the Chupacabra Chimera, or?
Sure, Nate. It's a ferry. It's a ferry that goes between two places. But we do see Serral shaping up with that third base. No pocket base for him, not right now. You go ahead and grab this one for yourself. There's so much space between the two of you. A Reaper can't do much about it.
Hey, there's that fast pocket third from HeRoMaRinE again. I do wonder. I guess we're probably going to see him go back because he just wants to guess because he ain't going bio.
I just think if you're playing Serral and you're playing safe, you're playing wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Trying to out macro Serral just feels like a fool's errand, as it were.
HeRoMaRiNE's the guy that would do that, though. I don't see him changing everything up.
It reminds me of like the era of like Innovation's height of skill, where he was like winning GSL, he won like OSL, and people are like, well, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to just, like every one of his opponents that he played in ZvT, like they all roach Baneling all into him every game, because it was the only way to beat him. It was like, well, as soon as Innovation lands his third command center, the game is actually just over.
Nate, I got another hot ticket, little nugget of information for you coming in hot from our production room. You ready for this?
Fill me in, Doctor.
Serral likes to play golf with his father.
Does he, though? That's cool.
That's a stat. That's a little fact we got.
You ever done much golfing, Jeff?
Much, no, but I did golf, yes.
I went to a range once. It was okay.
It's nicer if you could drive a golf cart around, have some drinks.
That sounds way more fun than golfing. The Overlord Scout comes in, sees basically everything. The Viking kills it.
Is it worth putting something somewhere else? I know about the add-on swapping and stuff like that, but why Starport further to left? factory further away from it, would that change everything drastically?
Honestly, Terran players are all weirdly OCD. We don't really talk about this a whole lot, but if like buildings and add-ons don't line up, dude, it really bothers me. And then when I play Protoss, I'm like, nah, just slap the gateways all over in the power fields. I don't care what they look like, because nothing can get stuck. It doesn't matter. But yeah,
Terran players are just like building little sand castles, like,
dude,
very carefully. They all go in a row. That's where it's Technology Avenue.
In Control, the day that you try to play Terran in StarCraft 2 and you build 2 engineering bays and 2 SCVs get stuck forever until they die or get picked up by a medevac, and then you're playing mech, so you know you're not picking them up with a medevac. That's the day that you become a master of feng shui of Terran base building.
Well, my favorite, and this went unspoken for a long time. In fact, it still is. But back in the day, like Wings of Liberty, even Heart of the Swarm, the reluctance of Terran players to swap a reactor starport for a tech lab just to build the one Raven, if there's like a million DTs running around and stuff, was my favorite thing in the world. And then they would complain about it on the forums and be like, what am I supposed to do, spin to scan? Then I can't have a mule? And people like, build a Raven. They'd be like, build a Raven? Never! And that's as far as it got.
Yeah.
It's because Terran players didn't want to swap. For even
I still remember the days when Roddy and I were just talking about how Pult had a 700 IQ because he built a Viking at the start of the game to kill overlords instead of letting them sit all over the map the entire game long. Yeah. We're like, he's like, mate, this is really a smart play. I'm like, yeah, Kev, I don't know why I don't do this. Like, I actually don't understand what the hell is wrong with me. This is so smart. It doesn't really cause anything.
People don't play Terran to be smart. I think they play it to get mad.
That's true.
It's the race that you just kind of get mad about stuff with.
You know, I like my fries very salty.
Couple of Banshees, just a couple of gals out there doing what they can, trying to find holes in the Zerg defense. Serral not giving up much, by the way. He's not even taking the pocket as his 4th. He's taking the middle base as the 4th.
He's got his Contaminate, too. He could use that Overseer to be annoying now as these Roaches are going to push the Hellions back. We have Blue Flame coming in. There's the Banshees. Hitting it from the left.
You know what's nice, too, is when you get as good as Serral, everything you do is revered. Everything that's looked at is like, oh, that's the right choice. That's a good call. Oh, man, that's so good.
He readjusted the Spore Crawler just a little bit. 2 hexes to the right.
The one queen is just in that position.
A mastermind.
Yeah, so good. Deflecting this defense, just macroing up here. That's exactly the right call.
I heard that, like, universities in America, because college is so expensive, they give out honorary degrees. I heard that Germany actually gave Serral an honorary Meisterschaft just because.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they'd give him several Meisterschafts if you got him alone for a little while.
If you had the room for them, certainly.
If they had enough guys with Meisterschafts, they would all give it.
5 Dropper Lords on the way. So Serral is going to try to bring a whole different level of, well, I mean, an elevator shaft, I guess, coming over to the south side of the space. He's going to try to lift himself up into HeRoMaRiNE's base.
Bootstraps. And I love the scout. We make our jokes, but like that's a speed overseer, man. There's no catching that.
It was so close.
Oh, that's so funny. Do you think he knew? He could sense it?
Only if
like, not that tank. No.
Well, it's a HeRoMaRiNE, not Avalon, okay? Slow it down.
And look how it's masked, by the way. He's pushing forward to this force. He's like, hey, look over here. And then they're going to go hop on those overlords and be in the production.
I just love this. He's just being so annoying. He's like, you have nothing that shoots air. I'm going to keep my overlord here, my dude.
Except for those.
Except for those.
Every caster has that moment.
He's like, my overseer's on top of the army, which means
you got nothing.
I must be able to go straight in. It's not as bad as, what was it, like the 4 siege tanks? Like, oh, he's going to attack this base over here. No, he's not. He's not.
No, that's what's so funny is I love, because every caster has that moment. Still, and this is such an obscure reference, but I hope some of you guys get this. The best ever, Tasteless. What year Katowice was that? 3 years ago? Was it Katowice? I thought it was.
No. Wait. You mean the, oh my God,
worked.
It worked? No. That was BlizzCon opening weekend 2016.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think that was a game with, was it with Showtime?
Might have been, yeah.
It was on like Frost or something. I have like dark scars from that.
Tasteless, who's usually a very safe commentator. You're getting a lot of discussion on how long the game's going to end, the map. Doesn't put his heart out there too much. But with all the commentators sitting 20 feet away from him, there's a Baneling drop, and he leaned into it, goes, oh my god, it worked! And just as he ends,
4
it
Banelings
worked.
blow up and nothing.
Nothing.
Guys.
It kills absolutely nothing, and the whole place goes quiet. So beautiful. This is still a bad spot.
Going into Overlords. Maybe going to get picked off before they can unload.
He gets everything out, though. He's going to kill Vikings.
Yeah, he baits the Vikings out. That's not bad. This mech army tries to step out. There's not a whole lot here. These units want to attack from the upper side towards that base, but I think a cheeky scan keeps that all right. This army's really not too scary. With this many Hellbats, he cannot actually get onto the tanks because there's nothing that can kill the Hellbats. So, in a weird way, just Blinding Cloud is not enough.
Doesn't even kill that tank, though. That's how great HeRoMaRiNE's doing, just shoving forward, and now the Vipers are there. He's at this base. Serral is kind of remaxing on more Hydras and more Roaches. Is that going to do it, Nate? Is that enough?
I love this from HeRoMaRiNE. He's sticking to basics. He's like, I'm just going to build a ton of Hellbats and Siege Tanks, and I'll have some Vikings, and basically just try to attack before Broodlords. And when you're playing against someone who's stuck on lair tech, as long as Serral did, and then didn't really get hive units other than Vipers, it works brilliantly. Like, there are no Broodlords on the way.
Stuck on lair tech. It's minute 11. I don't even think he's going that slow. It's just that HeRoMaRiNE really punched up the level here. He's going to destroy that base. Supplies are in favor of Serral. Some of this mech is getting shaved off. A lot of the Vikings there. There's the Blinding Cloud. No real follow-up. No, there's the follow-up. It's from the flank.
Yeah.
Full surround here, and that's going to be it for HeRoMaRiNE's aggression. It gets a base, but the good angles from Serral, and you said stick to basics. How about the basics of just using those units for multi-angles, but also waiting for the Blinding Clouds?
Yeah, letting
the abducts, the Blinding Clouds.
That was a really good flank by the Vipers to get those Blinding Clouds off, and then also getting the Hellbats to commit far enough that he could kill all of them. When you have a buffer of Hellbats that big, it is really hard to dive on those tanks, even with the Blinding Clouds. But once the Hellbats were gone, that opportunity opens itself up in a big way. And HeRoMaRiNE, we see this happening. Again, I've seen this a few times. He's just like expecting a Broodlord transition, so you build a bunch of Cyclones, but if those Hydras commit to the fight and get in your face, everything is gonna die. You need siege tanks to help back this up.
Yeah.
And he's so worried about Broodlords. There is one Corruptor on the way. There is a Greater Spire, but he's like, I gotta build a bajillion Cyclones, and I have to build Vikings because I lost everything.
Yeah.
And usually the Zerg player goes into Broodlords after that.
It was just more ground armies. Still, of course, the option to go to Broodlords is there. And here's Serral just once again hitting from all the angles. And even here, he could probably trade pretty well. He's got a decent bank behind it. Decent, not great. But he's just playing it because he knows. He sees that composition, and he says, well, I'm not worried about that becoming something too scary just yet, right? Like, that's a reactionary force. That's not the basis for a new composition that's going to be really scary, I don't think. Unless you add Ravens to it, then I mean, if you add Ravens to anything, though, I feel like it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, now Broodlords are going to be added in, and this makes things a little bit awkward because he needs to get those Cyclones on him. But the problem when you're using Cyclones like this is if this is all your army, then that means you don't have anything that can actually do with these other forces. The Vipers get a couple of abducts in. We have the Cyclones with some of the Hellbats choked up in the squares. The tanks are really adding in the most of the firepower here. He's been building a good amount of Vikings, though. There's only... I was going to say only. Well, there's 4 Vipers and 2 more on the way. So Parasitic Bomb will definitely be a real threat to the air forces of HeRoMaRiNE. He needs to be very cautious, and he needs to get good lock-ons with those Cyclones. But the problem always becomes that the Broodlings are going to make the tanks kill all of his own units way faster than the Zerg units ever would.
Yeah.
It's a classic conundrum of
Done a good job, though, of locking down that base. HeRoMaRiNE was looking to be more on the ropes than he is right now. And he's even pushing out. What about the push power of this army, Nate? Is this...
I like that he's bringing SCVs to repair this, because it's kind of like his pushes are really good, but it's a big map. Like, he's run out of steam several times. This is what happened in this map when he played earlier today.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it. It's really just going to come down to how he controls against the Parasitic Bomb, because there's not really a whole lot of... There's no Corruptors in this army, so the tanks should be able to keep the Hydras away. If he can deal with the Spore Crawlers and the Parasitic Bombs. Like, that's the biggest issue right now. But HeRoMaRiNE says, screw it, I'm just going to try to retreat. And the Zerg's going to take this opportunity to attack. 2 Parasitic Bombs get thrown out. The Vikings are peeled away. But there's another Parasitic Bomb. That Viking gets killed.
Good pullback, though. It's a good, like, both the Vikings are immediately removed. Gets a couple of kills on the Vipers as well.
Yeah, but the Broodlords are still able to shoot with impunity, which has been an issue. And that's the other issue against a comp like this. The Vipers just go consume. Like, because the Zerg is on the defensive, he can regenerate the energy on the Vipers pretty much instantly. So, like, yeah, you dodge the parasitic bombs, but if you don't kill the Vipers, it doesn't actually matter. He's just gonna eat off the hatchery or the extractors because you're at his base. He doesn't need to go anywhere to get more energy.
And with that, Serral pushes this back, and kind of unlike in the past, HeRoMaRinE did not get a base. He didn't trade out most of an army. He just kind of pushed to that location and was repelled. And composition-wise, he's remaxing on similar stuff. It's more Cyclones, now a couple of Thors, and still Vikings, which I don't see improving his chances of.
All he really accomplished there was killing a few Vipers. So like he chewed a bit at the gas bank of Serral, but now Serral's going to Blinding Cloud this planetary. If he loses this, that really hurts because now the Hydras are just going to run. Chasing the Broodlords is so risky. He gets 2 of them. Yeah. But Serral's like, I don't care. I took out your base. Now you got to float your main over. Guess what? That's not a planetary. By the way, you haven't had this gas for a year now either. These SCVs aren't mining.
And that's a problem. You can see his income is really slow. It's essentially down to just that base at this point in time.
He just floats this barracks over here. Problem solved. That's it. Don't need to leave any units there. Select all army.
It's the heat of battle. It's hard to do, and he's just securing the gold base, right? Like, for us, it's very simple, but for HeRoMaRinE, there's so much going on right now.
It's such a common issue on this map, though, and it happened to him earlier as well today. He had huge difficulty dealing with holding that high ground position. So he's got the gold now, retaking this forest, +2 air attacks coming in and more Broodlords. It's going up to 6. Okay. How many? What's the Thor count?
Ultralisk Cavern as well. So
he's going up to 6 Thors. I like this. The more I'm like the Thor the merrier is the way that I see it. These Hydras go take a few shots, but they punch through the Broodlords. They have the 10 range, and there's no projectile on their single target attack. Allows them to kill Vipers the moment that the Viper is in range to use any of its abilities, which is also extremely underrated. So you can insta-gib the Vipers as they come into range of your Thors, even if they're abducting and Blinding Cloud. Like, you can chip away at the army. And of course, they're not as susceptible to stuff like Parasitic Bomb. Dealing with armies like this is always such a delicate process.
Well, I think Serral's only fighting here because he's got the luxury of just being like, I'm going to usher you out of this game. Situationally, he has almost the rest of the map. And from here, HeRoMaRiNE's actually almost mined out this base itself as well. Like, it's just got some scraps. It is a gold base, which is nice. But he's not even looking to set up for his next expansion. Like, his game plan is just to hold on right now.
He hasn't even built another command center. That's a really good point to bring up. And now as the Spores are going to reposition, I mean, you can try to use the tanks, but you got to siege them, you got to target fire. But look at that, he just drops parasitic bombs everywhere. And all the Vikings are dead. And that's pretty much it. The Thors are able to get some good shots in, but the rest of the army has already been completely annihilated. Serral is just a beast. Just perfectly executes, defends, attacks, and that is why we are talking him up so much.
And it's a lot of the really cool, that if you're like outside of the game reviewing how he's playing, those are the right choices. But for those of you that maybe haven't competed, playing in the game, making this choice against another competitive player is a completely different animal. But just like you said, Nate, the push defense, he gave up the base, had the concave, got a full surround, kills the army. If he just throws units like, oh no, I'm losing my base, just comes from one angle, he might lose the game right there. The defense on the right side of the map, again, waits until it gets to its absolute furthest and go, perfect defense. And then over here, like you were saying, repositioning the Spore Crawlers, these are things that not everybody does, but it's the final move where even if somehow HeRoMaRinE mounts some kind of defense, it's going to cost him so much that the victory is secured.
Yep.
It's really something special to watch him play right now.
Yeah, I mean, HeRoMaRinE, his attack, I'm not going to take back what I said. I loved it. It was a really good attack. He had like 10 plus siege tanks. He had like 15 Hellbats as a buffer. He had Vikings. That is a game-ending push that you have versus a Zerg who doesn't have a lot of Vipers and only has Roach Hydra outside of that. Like, at that point, there wasn't a Greater Spire. There wasn't an Ultralisk Cavern. He just had the Vipers. And I'm like, yeah, against almost any player, this type of attack ends the game.
Yeah.
But Serral gets a really good spread, as you mentioned. He lets him kill the base and step further. He's like, yes, you're hurting me. Come on to creep. and then he gets down that ramp. He comes from that right side. He hits from the left.
Sets up the right attack.
And the Vipers coming in, like they went all the way around the back. They all died, but they were able to get the blinding clouds off, and that set up this whole thing.
Yeah. And he mechanically remakes Vipers, by the way, which is, I know, I'm not going to make this the biggest of deals, but you will see players in these situations lose their Vipers and not think to remake them because, like, that doesn't help me win this fight right now because I have to get energy to them. Then they contribute. But there's such an essential backbone to defending against mech or even attacking mech that you have to. So it's amazing to watch him do everything correct for the most part.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing as well, is it's stuff like using those parasitic bombs when his gold base was being attacked, and then also immediately getting the energy back on those Vipers and doing it again. He's like, oh, you spread your Vikings? No. Give me 10 seconds, get the energy, drop more parasitic bombs, deal with it. Serral just plays very well, and it goes to show. I mean, we're being informed by... what do we call him?
DJ Perplexer.
DJ Perplexer. That Serral actually hasn't lost a single map in this Challenger.
Yeah.
Not in the group stage.
I mean, it's amazing.
Not today.
We'll have to see if he can keep it up. Of course, the deeper you go into the tournament, the less likely that kind of thing is true. And I did ask, you know, we didn't talk about this. It's 1-8 in matches for HeRoMaRinE being the one win. But in map score, it's 7-17, which is pretty respectable, actually. It's amazing to lose that many series and win 7 games. Never.
But was that before Serral came out of his, like,
absolutely.
Zerg regenerative cocoon on Xeris Prime or whatever from Heart of the Swarm?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That was before he could go Super Saiyan, is basically what I'm saying. In the top left, he's got a hell of a mountain to climb. It's HeRoMaRinE.
And now the next player, please, Nate.
Yeah. Jeff, just give me your best introduction. Give me something.
The best introduction?
You know what? It doesn't have to be the best. It could be like your Sure Save discount brand.
Okay. From the frozen Nordic lands that gave birth to the inspiration behind Game of Thrones, a lot of death metal, and some dark years for many people in their high school era time. It is Serral. Good music here, though. Production weight on that, they knew. Serral also, this is not, you know, this is one of those moments I'm going to bring up that he's been given some flack for not being the best interviewer, but he just, you know, was a monster in Nation Wars, of course, the event that just concluded a couple weeks ago. And one of my favorite moments from the entire tournament is they asked him a question of, like, Can you talk about your teammates? Like, what would you say about your teammates? And Serral, in just the most brutally honest way possible, could be like, what? This is so stupid. I love it. His skill is escalating. His character's coming out. Is this the guy that this year at WCS becomes the man? Is he the monster?
Maybe he will come out with the shades when he wins his 4th WCS event this year.
Flexes his right arm that he's solely been working out under, like, just one arm. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah. And then instead of, you know, the awkward champagne ceremony, he will actually pull out a saber that he'd been hiding the whole time and slice the bottle in half.
And then drink from the broken bottle?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Without hurting himself either. It'll be a spectacular.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah. And then he'll spread his angel wings and fly out through the ceiling. And, yeah, go save the world or something.
Yeah. I mean, that would do a lot for StarCraft and WCS in general.
I think the media coverage would be pretty
I think if one of our players literally turned into an angel and flew off the stage, I think people would really start to be like, you know what?
That would get StarCraft back.
They're doing some great stuff over there at StarCraft land.
that game really does make you a better person.
If you think about it, though, not to get too religious here, but if some deity, some kind of god figure, what game are they playing? It's StarCraft. Can you imagine them playing any? There's economy, there's micromanagement.
Having to manage this many units, and like if it doesn't pause, and they're all doing their own stuff, and like
you can have your own, you know, different metas, different style. Absolutely.
Yeah. You're just like, yep, there's Roddy. He's just chilling, you know. He's keeping the Overlord away. He decided he wanted to be a Marine today.
Yeah.
I don't judge.
All right. Well, it is that Reaper dance.
Serral did a really good job, by the way. Just point out that he had the drone out there ahead of time before the Reaper showed up, and he was able to get that hatch down very early. just felt like pointing that out. That's just another one of those things that we've talked about where that hatch did go down later for HeRoMaRiNE's opponent earlier today, who's for some reason I've completely forgotten.
Well, they're out now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess. Out of sight, out of mind. But Serral just doesn't really make mistakes, and he finds ways to do the things that he wants to do. So, good on you, man. Good at the game.
It's over those no, like, no, I'm doing it. Nate, you're not supposed to make that sound. Remember that? Mark, don't write it. I know. It's 1 per broadcast is in my contract. I think I successfully snuck that in there. So there is that third CC, by the way.
HeRoMaRiNE's playing so greedy. We're finally seeing him go back into some bio play here too.
Well, watch him like do his build orders from the first series, and then Serral shows us what you do to just shut it down. Right?
Like episode 1 is like, I discovered all these new techniques that make me super powerful. Episode 2 is like, here's how you defeat all of them.
Yeah.
Well, Serral's just so good, right? He could do one build and be amazing at it. You know, HeRoMaRiNE could be like the German innovation, and we'd be like, well, actually, it doesn't really matter. Serral is just that good.
Just consistently checking in on him here.
And nothing wrong with doing that, using the lings, just poking. He wants to know when HeRoMaRiNE tries to take that third base. Always very important.
3 Banelings morphing. Is that top right? That was coming over there?
No, I don't think so.
That's a ling.
Just cheeky lings.
Just defensive Banelings back at home, I guess?
Yeah. Serral's not taking chances. He's not going to die to the random 3 Hellbat, 3 Marine medevac attack. So the third's going out now. I do like that the 1-1 ended up starting a lot earlier for HeRoMaRiNE. This is a very, very absurdly greedy build where really you don't have anything, but you're like, yep, I think Serral's going to macro this game. So I get the safety Banshee.
It was Nurchio, by the way, the HeRoMaRiNE buff.
Yeah, Nurchio, right.
You like infected me when you said, I can't remember who it was. I was like,
no.
Ah. And I was like, no.
No, HeRoMaRiNE didn't play Nurchio, did he? My brain is just completely shut off.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Wow.
Man, when you said no, though, I started to be like, oh my God, is it me?
Oh, that's what happened.
Nate.
Yeah.
That's why every broadcast needs Roddy, because he remembers every match. Like the day of is a joke. For him, he remembers it 10 years ago.
I'd be like, Kevin, do you remember that game, that really funny game where Polt flew all his medevacs into bombers' turrets? And then Roddy'd be like, oh, but what about the game before? Where like
it's August of 2013. It's the Nordic Land Finals.
Patch 2.4.3.
And we're like, all right, stop it. I like the Banshee here. You know what's funny about moves like this is like, on paper, doesn't score much, but literally just getting the SCVs pulled off in exchange for a couple of Banelings, and they still get some damage, it's still good. It's not great. Left side, by the way, there's a battle going on.
I'm a terrible observer.
Well,
I don't deny that.
No, like I said, it's us observing. So I felt bad because it kind of threw Fear Dragon under the bus because the game just ended with Petite Drogue and a laser, but literally there was Zealots in all 3 bases. But you know what? If I don't say it, the chat certainly is. So I got to, you know, rise up myself as a hero, basically.
Yeah, I see. The dark control rises.
Yeah, I'm the Dark Knight. Gets out of there though. But it just feels like there's like the Jaws music playing at all times with Serral. Like everything that moves out.
Like nothing he's done has really slowed Serral down. His creep spread is past halfway. Yeah. He's got it in all the lanes except this little left side. Like, I don't know, maybe he'll write about how that was like the worst mistake he's made this month.
Yeah.
In his diary later, he'll be like, I didn't get the creep on the left side. Like, I can't believe I messed that up. But
I just feel like every time stuff moves out, like a really, like, you know, StarCraft 3 or a really graphical, dark version of StarCraft, the, like, depot's doors open up and the family of the Marines come out and they, like, wave goodbye to all the Marines. They're like, I'll miss you, Papa. He's like, oh, I shan't be long, Jimmy. No, Papa. You're going out to Serral Land.
Going into the hive of Serral.
Will never be seen again.
No one returns.
Look at the map.
He's just, yeah, no.
Just a swarm of blue.
He's just got everything. The only thing that HeRoMaRinE has going for him is that he got his 2-2 will finish faster. And then he'll have that slight window where he has it, and Serral doesn't. And then Serral's like, I don't care because I'm actually just too good at the game.
Yep. He's killing creep tumors. Does that show up in the units lost? It doesn't, right?
I don't know. I don't think it does.
I don't think so.
Do we have anything in there? 70 lings? Like, I mean, I guess. He lost some stuff.
Does it show it?
No, it doesn't show.
No.
Well, there's a button for structures lost, but I don't know if creep tumors show up in that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hotkey for structures lost is.
That's okay. And then there's the Banshee. And then here's the other thing that's really tough too. When you're playing someone like Serral that's doing all the little things correctly, those random Banshees or random medevacs look so bad because your opponent is making so many good choices.
Yeah.
I'm that guy, by the way. I did that for years. Every MLG, it's like, wow, Boxer's playing great. Look at that in control guy, and I'm over there like, like,
yeah.
War Prism's running into stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Good players make great players look bad, or whatever.
Yep.
Right? Something like that.
The opposite of that, I think, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it's time. There's nowhere else to go. I like the high ground stance there, though, and Serral's pinned in here a little bit.
There's a good number of siege tanks in this position.
Here we go.
Yeah, he cleans up. Some of the tanks are still alive. Serral's doing it.
Oh, he's got the second wave, though.
More Banelings.
Oh, they don't make it to the bio.
Zerglings. Yo, 2-2 versus 1-1's pretty good unit. I don't think Serral really realized what he was getting into.
Wow.
If the upgrades were even, I think he actually cleans it up. But
the left flank Banelings was weird, too, though. There was nothing over there except for tanks. And in this situation, it literally comes down to that. Like, the flank he chose for that was wrong. Yeah, I think.
I thought he was going to wait for 2-2 because it was so close, and now it's done. But
are we beginning to believe, though? It's 30, it's 40 some odd supply against 80.
I think Serral might lose his first map here.
He might lose it. First map and challenger.
I think that brings HeRoMaRiNE's line here to like maybe 20-30%.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I love this move, by the way. Cut off reinforcements like that. It's a little bit late even, but it's still such a good move.
This is actually getting. I mean, this is such a weird spot. There's still a bunch
counter
of
the third, by the way.
Yeah. I was waiting for him to get in the
middle. You got it. You got it.
Be cinematic.
Be cinematic. Dramatic about it.
Yeah.
Hold position even. Look at this guy. And then Burrow for the final.
No Burrow.
All right. It's time. The tank's on the low ground, though. I can't see this position get dislodged.
No. Once the reinforcements
get
and
here, Liberators, too.
I think he did. I think he might actually be about to lose his first map.
Serral's going to be like, I'm sorry, what was the screen I just saw? And we're like, it's the lost screen, Serral.
He's like, I think my game's broken.
Did I lose ladder points for this game? They're like, no, it's just a tournament. He's like, oh, okay.
He's like, when I lose to HeRoMaRiNE on ladder, I lose 50 MMR.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Wow, that botched fight. The upgrades. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Those upgrades had such a huge impact.
Viper getting charged up here. Can it make the difference? We're gonna find out right now. Bio is getting connected to some Banelings, but those tanks are so far back. I can't see it. That gun line does not get dislodged.
The tank line is too staggered. More and more Lings are going to come out, but as long as there's just a few Marines to clean the tanks up when they finally get that close.
It's close, but it's just such a hard trade for Serral. And the reinforcements come in, another wave of Liberators.
Oh, Serral built the panic swarm host, the accidental swarm host. Yeah.
Classic.
Game's over. HeRoMaRiNE
GG. And HeRoMaRiNE strikes back. The series is tied. But like I was saying earlier, 7-17, now it's 8-18. These guys do go back and forth a little bit. HeRoMaRiNE is of that caliber.
He asks the question, he says, do you bleed? And he makes it so, you know? That's pretty good.
Bleed?
I mean, I thought that Serral's army was amazing. I'm like, okay, I guess he lets him kill the center base and pulls back. But then he's like, my 2-2 is 20 seconds from finishing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just attack with everything.
The positioning of the tanks was really good.
Yeah.
Serral chose to flank in. He came in from the south and from the left side, which is fine and good, but that allowed that there was 3 tanks on that ramp. It acted as almost a buffer because whatever Banelings made it through all that connected with those tanks, and it was like 3 or 4 Banelings, which again, if that hits the bio, it devastates them, kills most of them, but against the tanks, not that big of a deal.
Yep, and that's the worst part about all of that is when it comes to those upgrades is he did not have that many tanks initially. Like that second wave of tanks when he went up to like 6 or 7, that's when I'm like, I don't actually know that he can break this position. Yeah. But just 3 siege tanks shouldn't have been able to stop that whole army. His Zerglings could not kill the Marines because there was a healthy medevac count, and the Marines were up 2 upgrades ahead of the Lings. So it's like, your Zerglings don't hurt the Marines anymore. Like now you are required to win the game with your Baneling connections. And at that point, as you said, when he retreated, the Baneling's just going to hit the tanks when they go up the ramp.
And I will say, by the way, we've been giving a lot of credit to Serral, which is deserved, but HeRoMaRinE played excellent there as well. I thought a lot of his decision-making, and you know, Nate was touching on this in previous series and this one as well, but if you just have your tanks out of position or clumped up and you're not really utilizing your tank line that well, you just die as a Terran. Like you just, when they hit that and there's Lings on top of them, the tanks start blowing themselves up, that's it. You're actually just dead. That push dies. Serral had like 2 other bases, by the way, that he was in the process of saturating and building up. You lose the game. But HeRoMaRinE did a good job with that push. He defended against the counterattacks. He held on. It was really well played.
I mean, Serral was getting counterattack damage done. He was cleaning up the reinforcements. And as you said, he was getting extra bases. HeRoMaRinE wasn't like, he didn't have a 4th towards the end when he was getting that push going. What really, I expected HeRoMaRinE to just overextend like he's been doing. Like that has cost him several of his games. It happened against Nerchio. It just happened in the last game against Serral, where once again in that first map, he pushed super far after he had a good decisive victory in a fight. And then the reinforcements in Serral's positioning just got him. Except when it comes to bio, that upgrade advantage is insane. It is so big. It is so big. So,
well, okay. We are going to head into game number 3 here. It's counting down as we speak. Black Pink is where we're taking this one.
Yeah.
Nate, what do you think about this for these 2 guys?
Black Pink TVZ is all right. It's pretty. I don't really have anything special to say about this map.
All right. Both these guys... No, never mind. We're not showing this.
As I've played this map more, I've liked it less, only because I've realized how good some people are at using that high ground position by the lower 3rd base. And it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have any amazing life-changing analysis for that.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. But yeah, here we are on Blackpink. It's tied up. We've got in the top right our German Hope, the man, the first one to draw blood against the Finnish tyrant. He is HeRoMaRinE. If ever a Marine was a hero. In StarCraft, at least.
Yep. And I'm going to use this opportunity, Nate, to give you another historical fact that was not given to me by DJ Perplexer himself in the production room about Finnish people in general.
Hit me.
In World War II, there was a famous Finnish sniper, by the way, that fought against the Germans and logged, I believe it's over 200 kills. Yeah. I'm not making that up. You're waiting for the joke. You're waiting for the laugh.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
Death medal, a ferry to Stockholm, and now a sniper.
There you go.
The Finnish people have a lot to be proud of.
About the Finnish, and speaking of the Finnish, he is the Finnish. He's Serral.
Oh, wow. Did you say Finnish as in, like, the country or, like, the end of something?
The world may never know.
Yeah.
It's open to interpretation. I was going for the M. Night Shyamalan ending.
Well, that's hit or miss, isn't it? What's the name of the bad guy in Atreyu? Do you know
what?
No, you're not that old.
No, man.
The Never-Ending Story. You never saw that?
When was that released?
Oh my God. I'm asking the wrong guy.
I was born in '93, man. My first movie was like Hellraiser, dude. Okay.
No, it was not. You're trying to show off to the StarCraft audience right now. It's not.
No, that actually was.
Your first movie was like Home Alone 3 because you're too young.
Pocahontas is the first movie I remember watching. I was like 3 years old. There you go.
That's a good one.
In case you really wanted to know that.
Yeah, I didn't. But there's somebody out there that
now
did.
You know something very personal about me, Jeff.
I like the evolution we just went through where you're like, it's Hellraiser. No, it's not. You're right. It's Pocahontas.
I did watch Hellraiser probably a lot younger than I should have, though.
Well, all right. So a little bit of a shake and bake here. Coming out from HeRoMaRinE. Nope. I just did that caster thing where I was like, let's talk about the shit. Nope, they're doing the exact same thing. In fact, what Nate was talking about, Serral did it again. He snuck out the drone, gets the third hatch there. And then it is going to be that fast third command center from our Terran player. Is that even faster? No, it's the same time, right? And he puts it in the spot where everyone scouts. Can I talk to the Terran players, please?
Does he, though?
Who's their spokesperson in Europe? Who's the spokesperson?
The spokesperson for Terran in Europe?
Yeah.
Probably. Man, probably Harstem.
What? I had an answer that I thought was pretty funny, but that's actually way better.
If aliens landed in Europe and they were like, yo, my dudes, who can we talk to about anything StarCraft? Harstem would be the guy to step up.
He's pretty good.
He'd be like, yeah, I got this. If they had to elect a representative to communicate with a foreign body, it would be Harstem.
He's so easygoing, too. I feel like if they were like a parasitic alien race, they're like, look, in order for us to communicate with you, I have to crawl in through your navel and occupy like your chest cavity. Harstem would be like, you know what? That sounds like a really crappy situation, but honestly,
sorry,
he would. He'd do it. He's a good guy.
He's just like, no, facehugger, don't jump on me. You can just climb.
He's like, let me help you up here. You look tired after your long trip. So this Overlord did not see that much, right? We were in the business of it. Oh, put the Ling. Okay, never mind.
Nope, the Ling doesn't see it either.
That was a streaker Ling if I've ever seen one, wasn't he? He was like, ah! I'm doing it.
That's the guy carrying the, carrying the stick of dynamite?
Yeah.
The sewer gates.
It's a grimdark future, though, because, like, you know, in present day, streakers get tackled by a security officer. In this, they get hit by double, like, mounted flamethrowers on a dune buggy.
Yeah.
Not the best.
No.
But likewise, information being denied here as well. But look at this Viking. Hunting Overlords is going to get a little poke. A little C here.
Will he get it? Will he get it? If only he had that 10 extra health.
Oh, if he did, he could totally do it.
1,000 more Overlords. Really?
Is that, yeah, I have your view on. You just keyed in on a single Overlord over there?
It's like, that's it, man. What, you mean, what are you talking about my observing?
This is you, yeah.
Yeah, I've only got so much to look at, man. Nothing else is happening.
I like it, though. You just checked in on the one Overlord.
He's got 2 armors. Well, you know, as a Terran, you know I'm hungry for that. You know that. I was drawn. That was some instincts kicking in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to see the Viking kill Overlords.
You ever thought about how impractical an Overseer is in this game, by the way? It's all eyes. If you zoom in on that, its entire body is eyes.
It's got to, you'd think it would be a more powerful unit if it has the brain capacity to take data in from all of those eyes simultaneously.
Have less armor and less health. You get shot. Have you ever been shot in the eye, Nate?
Oh, yeah. It's like a video game boss, right? It's just got so many weak points everywhere.
It's just a flying multi-eyeball.
It's kind of horrifying to think about, really.
It is. It's Zerg, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what they do. There should be, in like future installments, there should be an Overseer. This would be actually really cool. A different Overseer variant, but it's all ears. And instead, if you like select it, the sound cue is amplified. Because you know every building makes different sounds and stuff.
Sure.
You don't like that theory? All right, I'll come back to it. Talk about it later.
Yeah.
Couple of roaches gonna get a cheeky poke in here. Oh my god.
He hasn't really made his mech transition.
Yeah, look at the timing of this.
Yet.
There's not much here.
No. His tanks are on the way. His 1-1's on the way. His extra factories are coming, but they're not there yet.
It's just annoying. It gets to do this and leave.
Yep. That's what the safety banshees are for, but they were out on the map trying to harass. By the way, they didn't kill anything, so that kind of sucks. Oh, the Hellions.
Oh,
ooh,
the tanks?
Wow,
both
the
of them?
Tanks.
Wow.
At this point, yeah, this is
timing of that too.
This is when I rage quit my stream, dude. This is.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're saying some pretty mean words. It's probably stream sniper.
Yeah.
But it's Serral, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's got 12 eyeballs, can you really say that's playing fair?
No, cannot say that.
Yeah. There you go.
8 SCVs for his efforts as well. It's a 40 supply advantage.
And 2 tanks, and now 10 Swarmos. Okay. Okay. You know what?
12 Swarmos even.
I'm scared. So he's like, that's just the perfect combo. Like, he gets the Hellions with the roaches, like, in completely separate areas as well. The one thing I'll say, I really like that HeRoMaRiNE's got this 4th planet down super fast.
That's a very fast one.
But he's got to get it. Actually, Actually, I think with his low number of units, don't turn it into a planetary fortress. Because you're going to need to lift it off so that the Locusts don't just focus.
You think that's what he's doing? That's not a mistake? That he's just making SCVs there?
I think he wants to transform it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. But I'm saying that him not transforming it is almost a blessing in disguise.
Oh, okay.
Because at least you can lift it against the Locusts. Because he doesn't really have a lot of units to kill them with.
And the Locust Wars have begun. Jump into the mineral line. Getting some friendly fire even. And just doing some work themselves. Now, HeRoMaRinE has the Army comp developing to be the answer for this. The problem I have with it, Nate, is it's been hampered so much, it's coming in late, and it's kind of small.
Yeah.
Oh, there's queens here, too.
This is such a scary army with the Swarm Host support. And this is it. Like, he's going to... These Swarm Hosts... Okay, he jumps on the turret. That actually does open up opportunity here because it kind of clumps them up. And they have to move, so you should be able to do this.
So strong. Look at that.
Yeah, Swarm Hosts are frustrating.
And that opens up this.
Dude, Serral just styled on him this game.
He's maxed. It's 9 minutes.
I don't have any words for this. Like, Serral was just like, you know what? You took the first map off me. He's like, what a waste of my time to have to play an extra game of StarCraft. Now I will kill you in the most brutal, painful, quick way possible. You dirty mecker.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a... That's a sentence you don't... You got to take that one real gingerly.
Yep. I mean, this army just...
Oh,
God.
Perfect surround. There goes the tanks, and the rest of the army's Roach Ravager.
Perfectly wrap those tanks up like a net.
Man, our commentary of Serral is pretty biased. You'd almost think he's American, but he's not.
No.
Neeb is tomorrow.
Yeah.
That'll be biased.
That'll be
biased.
I've had some people come in and be like, don't you know HeRoMaRiNE's really good? I'm like, is he though? I like HeRoMaRiNE.
He is good. No, he is good.
I watch his stream. He's a good player.
He's got a funny stream. A lot of personality with that guy, actually.
Yeah, but Serral is just like, there you go.
Well, we'll see, though. We were saying this before, and HeRoMaRiNE, like we talked about, it's not even like Serral made some really big mistake and played terribly in the game he lost. I actually thought, and you were saying this too, he played great, and HeRoMaRiNE was able to beat him. So, imagine going to Game 5 if HeRoMaRiNE can take this next one. That's pretty crazy.
I mean, like, after that last game, like Game 2, you're like, well, that was reasonably impressive play out of HeRoMaRiNE, but I still think a lot of it comes back down to the huge mistake of attacking without upgrades. And then you see that Game 3, where you're like, oh, yeah, like, Serral can just, just backhand him and just kill him.
Just get out.
Just basically what that game was.
Well, we get down to an even smaller map. I consider myself a fairly smart StarCraft guy, but I don't know if this favors Zerg or Terran. A biogenesis.
Well, I mean, I'm sure, I didn't hear what you just said, but I'm sure your analysis was really good. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll hear from Dr. In Control. You're watching the World Championship Series, Europe. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series Europe. I am the European version of Nathanius, here to bring you through the rest of the bracket. I'm joined by the European version of In Control, who happens to be a doctor. How are you feeling?
Quite good, actually. I went to Yardford for my education.
What? Where?
Yardford.
Yardford?
Yardford.
Okay, so there you go. The Finnish Academy of dank memes. We have
That's a hard accent to do, actually.
A 2-1 score right now in our current series of HeRoMaRinE versus Serral. The first game, Serral just did what he does best. Second game, Serral made a mistake. There was a glitch in the Matrix. HeRoMaRinE drew blood. And then in game 3, Serral went as like, it's like one of those bosses where once you do enough damage, they go into like rage mode and they're like.
It's the second form.
Yeah, second health
I won't
bar.
even say his third form. I think there's another gear he can hit, but he maxed at 9 minutes and
just killed him. He just brutalized him. It was.
He made it look bad.
He made HeRoMaRinE look really bad. So we're going to. How do you pronounce this map? Because people get upset no matter what way you do it.
Really?
Yeah. There's no way to pronounce this without someone getting really upset.
That's interesting. Yeah, I look at it. So there's like the literal way to answer your question. I don't know. I call it a biogenesis, but that's clearly not how you don't like break it up in an increment like that. But this happens to every caster. It's a fun discussion to have. That moment where they're like, introduce the players, and you look at someone's name and you're like, oh my god, what is that guy's name? And and at least all the American casters do the same thing, where they're just like, here I go. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
His name is Juniper. I believe it's Juniper over there.
Yeah.
Spinglacy. And people are like, that's not it at all. And you're like, well, I tried. That's it.
Yeah.
This to me is a biogenesis, but that's clearly not what it is.
There's a biogenesis.
Biogenesis?
Abiogenesis. Abiogenesis.
It's not Genesis by itself, I don't think. It has to be all one word. Like we see Genesis there.
Abiogenesis.
Some of the chat tell us. If you tell us, Mark will relay it to it. I'd love to know what this is, though.
Yeah. Well, the funny part is the map maker came out and said it at some point, but
did they? No, I don't know.
Yeah. Map makers only have one way of speaking to us, and it's when their maps get put in and we complain about them.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Those guys, it's unfortunate. They do a hard job because maps are really important.
And nobody's ever essential job.
Nobody's ever happy with all the maps because, like, you know, you're like, oh well, I thought this would be like a fun map for like this sort of game, and then everyone's like, well, I hate that sort of game. But it happens. Like Abiogenesis for example. Very short map. It has some good defensive
Smallest,
features,
right? This is the smallest map in the pool.
but it's the smallest map in the pool, and a lot of people don't like this map because there's no ramp directly into the natural either. So it being a small map means you get a lot of cheese, a lot of aggressive builds. On ladder, this map is a nightmare because whatever's going to come at you just hits faster.
I will say I like that they mix it up. I think that's one of the cool things Blizzard has remained pretty staunch on. Not having 5 or 6 of the same kind of maps, but rather a small, a big, and a medium, and then shaking it up there as well.
Yeah. So we are here loaded into Abiogenesis with a very fast spawning pool out of our Finnish Zerg player. In the bottom right, leading the series 2-1, he's Serral.
Nate, go ahead, man. You're crushing it.
His opponent in the top left, the red Terran player, he is HeRoMaRinE. Just wanted to focus in on that refinery.
Now, Nate, as a Terran player, this opening, double gas at this point in time, by the way.
Yeah.
There it is. It's going to be, so it's Ravagers, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a pretty famous push we're about to see, where it just... Yeah. But what about the Reaper? Does it just show up too late? It just gets here and it's like, too late, man.
You know, the Ravager used to shoot about as fast as a Marine in the original Legacy of the Void beta.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Paolo Katz Viscara who first said, guys, you can get like 3 of these things at like 2.5 minutes. And then at that point, everyone did it. And then they made the Ravager attack speed what it is now. But it's still a really powerful build. You still see people do it all the time. If you scout it, it's really not that hard to hold because there's no steam behind it at all. Like, one base Zerg has no transition. You hold it, the game ends. Unless you, like, you know, lose all of your SCVs holding it.
I'm going to cut you off right there because that's not a Reaper.
No.
This is the one game. So HeRoMaRinE won 3-1 against Nerchio and is now 1-2 against Serral. And all those games, someone can fact check me because I'm pretty sure about this, made a Reaper in every one of them. The one game he doesn't on the smallest map.
Yeah. It's also the game where he goes for 2-1-1. So he's like going to have just a handful of Marines. The Ravagers will show up and he should just die. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, let's be real here. He totally deserves this because he's been rushing like 3 command centers like absurdly fast every single game. He asked for this. And look at that bait. He's like, yeah, come down, come get the Overlord. It's all good.
That is what he has, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. Pulling the SCV is actually very smart. He needs to get this army off of him as much as possible. I like that. I mean, yeah, he's fully committed to this. It's not even just like the normal 3 Ravagers. He's like, no, I'm gonna actually just keep pushing Roaches and Ravagers across the map and keep morphing them, and I am just gonna kill you because Ravagers are good units versus just workers.
I mean, I hear you, and it is what he has to do. It's just futile, the way the build's lined up.
Yep.
Now those Marines are cornered, so that is his army. He has a Cyclone approaching 50%. He has a Marine that just popped out. He can actually kill the barracks if it stays here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should just... If the SCVs don't want to fight you, kill the factory. Move the Roach up front so that the SCVs can't get a good hit on it.
It's dead. Wow.
Maybe he catches another Ravager? Maybe.
One's about to pop right there.
Oh my god, this micro. I'm going to be sick.
Well, he is sick. See what I did there? God, that's good commentary.
Airhorn.mp3. Well,
wow.
That just happened.
It's one thing that this has always been true too. Like when you are really, really good, that's a huge thing. That's amazing. But it also just seems like luck kind of goes your direction as well. Like literally, all the things that HeRoMaRinE was doing that would give you the information about this, in this game he stopped doing. That's amazing. I'm not here to say that he would have won for free or something. It's just that he would have had a chance. He would have been able to put a bunker down or something.
I don't have any words for that. I mean, he recognized a couple things. It's like, well, he doesn't SCV scout. So you know that at worst case scenario, the Reaper will scout it.
Yeah.
But by that time, it is usually too late. It's builds like this, like, I don't know. That's why I SCV scout, because I'm bad. And I'm like, I don't hold this without scouting it. So, and apparently neither does HeRoMaRinE. But it's very hard to stop this if you're not ready for it.
And it throws a wrench into the gears, because what you just said is no small point. You don't want to SCV scout every game, because 9 out of 10 games you're going to see exactly the same thing, which isn't much.
You're going to be like, oh yeah,
but then this build exists.
Hatch is on the way. Pool is almost done. That's why most people don't SCV scout, because you're like, I'd rather have the extra 100 minerals back home. But
and you know what? You know what's the answer that people don't really like to hear though? In StarCraft, there are just some things that line up that way where you're like, you have to play assuming that's not going to happen. You can do the small math where it's like, it's a small map. If he is doing that build, it's more scary. But that's neither here nor there. It is going to be Serral advancing. We had the one really good game, and otherwise he kind of put HeRoMaRinE down.
Yep, only a few matches left to go today, ladies and gentlemen. And by a few, I mean 2. We have one more semifinal coming to you. It'll be